This girl stood shivering in the freezing cold, dressed in thin clothes, her legs bruised. At home, she was locked in a tiny bathroom by her own father and stepmother, starved, beaten, and kept alive only for government benefits. No one knew what happened behind those doors. But could she escape before it was too late? This is her heartbreaking story. The film begins with the police entering a small, quiet house. Inside, they find the body of an elderly woman. Her name was Jong Myung-suk. A police officer named Jang Sup arrives to check on the scene. As he looks around, his eyes fall on an old photograph. It's a face he recognizes immediately, the woman he had been searching for all these years. The mother of Baek Sang-ah. Elsewhere, Sang-ah is working at a car workshop, washing cars with determination. Her hands are rough, her expression tired. She has lived a hard life, but she's strong and never asks for help. Jang Sup finds her there. Without a word, he picks up a sponge and tries to take over her work. But Sang-ah stops him. She insists on finishing it herself. She doesn't like people stepping in, even if they mean well. They go for lunch together. Jang Sup gently tells her to wear his jacket as her clothes are too thin. There's warmth in the gesture, he clearly cares for her. But the air between them is complicated. There's something unspoken that holds them apart. Then, quietly, Jang Sup breaks the news. Her mother has died. Together, they visit the morgue. Jang Sup asks if she wants to cremate the body. But Sang-ah, cold and distant, simply says, "Do as you please." Her words are heavy. Their relationship had been broken for a long time. When Sang-ah was young, her mother used to hit her. And one day, she abandoned her completely. The pain still lingers. That night, Sang-ah returns to her home. She cleans every corner of the small space, scrubbing and organizing with frustration. It's not just dust she's trying to clear, it's the weight in her heart. The next morning, Jang Sup stops by a local diner. It's run by his older sister. She asks, "Are you still taking care of Sang-ah?" She tells him that he should let her go. She doesn't think Sang-ah is worthy of him. But Jang Sup shakes his head. "She's the one who doesn't want me." He finishes his food and leaves. Later, Jang Sup continues digging into Jong Myung-suk's past. He learns something unexpected. Years ago, Sang-ah's mother had gone to prison, for 6 long years. And she did it for her daughter. She hit the guy who took advantage of her daughter. A flashback reveals a terrible truth. When Sang-ah was in high school, she was sexually assaulted. In an act of self-defense, she grabbed a knife and stabbed the man. But the boy came from a wealthy, respected family. Sang-ah, just a girl from the orphanage, had no one on her side. The court didn't care about what had happened to her. In the end, it was Sang-ah who was the one sent to prison. Back then, Jang Sup was a junior officer and could not do anything to help her, and he felt guilty ever since. Back in the present, Jang Sup does something unexpected. He asks Sang-ah to marry him. But Sang-ah immediately rejects the idea. She tells him she's not someone who deserves love. She believes that anyone who stays with her will only suffer. Then, Jang Sup finds out she's planning to leave soon. She's going to Jeju Island. She tells him firmly, "Let me go. Stop feeling sorry for me." Her words cut deep. She turns to him angrily, asking why he kept searching for her mother all these years. But Jang Sup says he just thought she might want to see her one last time. After all, she was still her mother. But Sang-ah explodes in pain. She yells that she hated her mother. That she could never forgive her. That night, Sang-ah goes out for a drink. But as she walks along the dark street, she sees something that stops her. A small girl, no older than 9, is sitting alone on the pavement wearing a thin dress. Sang-ah's eyes soften. She quietly walks over and brings the girl to a nearby pacha for something warm to eat. The girl eats quickly, stuffing the food into her mouth. She must have been starving. When she accidentally spills a glass of water, she looks up in fear and whispers an apology, trying to find the right way to address Sang-ah. Then, Sang-ah tells her, "You can call me Miss Baek." The girl nods and introduces herself, "I'm Kim Ji-en." Sang-ah notices the marks on Ji-en's hands. Her heart tightens, but she tries to tell herself it's not her business. She doesn't want to get involved with someone else's problems again. Soon, a woman walks in. It's Ji-en's stepmother, Mi Kyung. She smiles politely and thanks Sang-ah for feeding the child. She explains that they don't give Ji-en much to eat because of her weak metabolism. But it's clear that's a lie. Ji-en clings tightly to Sang-ah's hand, refusing to let go. But in the end, Sang-ah forces herself to walk away. Mi Kyung takes Ji-en home. That night, Sang-ah can't sleep. The image of Ji-en's bruises and the way she held on to her, it all haunts her. It's too familiar. It reminds her of herself. The next day, Mi Kyung is seen praying at church. Her expression is calm, gentle, like a saint. But it's all an act. Later, we learn the truth. Ji-en's father is an alcoholic in rehab. He and Mi-kyung are only looking after Ji-eun to collect government child support. Sang-ah goes to her other part-time job at a massage parlor. To her surprise, Mi-kyung walks in as a customer. While lying down, Mi-kyung starts talking. She explains her side of the story, how her boyfriend had Ji-en when he was 20, how she didn't want to raise another woman's child but had no choice. When Mi-kyung returns home, she finds her boyfriend, Egon, playing video games as usual. He doesn't work and depends entirely on Ji-en's support money and Mi-kyung to live. Mi-kyung heads into the bathroom, and there, hiding in the corner, is Ji-eun. Trembling. That cold, dark space is Ji-en's room. Without hesitation, Mi-kyung grabs her, beats her until she bleeds, and splashes cold water on her. This is Ji-en's daily life. Meanwhile, Jang Sup meets the woman who had discovered Myung-suk's body. She quietly tells him that before Myung-suk's death, she kept saying that everything was her fault. That she had destroyed Sang-ah's life and could never forgive herself. Later, Sang-ah sees Ji-en again on the street. The little girl is walking slowly, her legs bare in the cold. When Sang-ah notices the scars on her legs, she freezes. Her chest tightens. The bruises take her back to her own painful childhood. Ji-eun turns and meets her eyes. Sang-ah walks closer, and then she sees blood on Ji-eun's finger. She gently asks, "Did Mi-kyung do this to you?" But Ji-eun, afraid, quickly says no. Without pushing further, Sang-ah brings Ji-en to a clothing store. She buys her a full set of warm clothes, shielding the girl from the harsh winter chill. Then, they go to a diner. Sang-ah orders nearly the entire menu, knowing Ji-en hasn't eaten properly in days, but Ji-en barely finishes her food, scared that if she eats too much now, her hunger will only return stronger later. Then Sang-ah asks, "Do they give you money for food?" Ji-eun lowers her head and replies, "Only after they hit me." Hearing this, Sang-ah's heart sinks. She brings Ji-eun to the nearest police station. But the moment they get close, Ji-eun hesitates. Her small voice trembles, "I went there before. They always send me back. And when I go home, the beatings are worse." Later, Ji-eun follows Sang-ah to her part-time jobs. Sang-ah gently asks, "Is there anywhere you want to go?" But Ji-eun does not reply, and Sang-ah takes her to an amusement park. There, the two of them stand by the ocean. Ji-eun takes Sang-ah's hand in hers and says with a small smile, "Thank you for bringing me here." But when Ji-eun hops on a ride, a dark memory hits Sang-ah. This was the place where her mother had left her. Ji-eun senses it. She walks over, and gently pats Sang-ah's head, as if to say, "It's okay." Later, Sang-ah walks Ji-eun home. But as she turns to leave, she sees Ji-eun's father hitting her again. Mi-kyung is there too, watching silently. Sang-ah storms in and warns Mi-kyung to stop. But Mi-kyung coldly replies, "Why are you interfering? You're not her mom. If you care that much, give us $100,000. Then you can have her." The argument brings them to the police station. There, an officer checks Ji-eun's wounds. Mi-kyung calmly lies. She says the injury on Ji-eun's finger was self-inflicted. When the officer asks about the bruises on her legs, Ji-eun looks down, and lies. "I fell." Then the officer tells Sang-ah, "There's not much we can do." Then, Mi-kyung turns the tables. She accuses Sang-ah of breaking into their home and attacking them. "She's a criminal," Mi-kyung says. When the police check Sang-ah's record, they learn that she is an ex-convict. The police look at Sang-ah differently now. Just then, Jang Sup arrives. He takes Sang-ah home and assures her that the Child Protection Services will visit Ji-eun's home and tells her, "You don't need to worry too much." Soon after, news breaks of a horrifying case, a young child found dead, murdered and buried by his own father and the father's girlfriend. The brutality of the case shakes Jang Sup. Fearing Ji-en could suffer the same fate, he urges the authorities to intervene in her situation before it's too late. They agree to conduct a welfare check the day after tomorrow. Jang Sup immediately calls Sang-ah, but she insists she shouldn't have gotten involved and tells him she needs to focus on packing for her move to Jeju. Meanwhile, Mi-kyung finds Ji-en lying on the floor with her arms tied. Unmoved, she turns away and leaves. When Ji-en regains consciousness, she crawls to the sink and drinks from the tap, desperate to quench her thirst. But her father catches her. Coldly, he tells her she has no right to drink water, that she should just die. Ji-en, terrified, tries to crawl away and apologizes, but her father grabs her by the throat. He strangles her while saying life would be easier if she were gone. Just then, Sang-ah arrives. She had returned for one final check on Ji-en before leaving. Egon refuses to open the door and hurriedly hides Ji-en in the bathroom. Trapped and desperate, Ji-en climbs up to the bathroom window. Through the small gap, she spots Sang-ah walking away with her luggage. She cries out to her. But Sang-ah, conflicted and afraid, forces herself to walk on. As Jang Sup drives Sang-ah toward the terminal, she grows increasingly uneasy. Midway, she tells him to stop the car, something deep inside tells her she'll regret leaving Ji-en behind. Meanwhile, Ji-en decides to escape. She squeezes through the bathroom window, climbs down using wires, and crashes to the ground, bruised and barely able to move. At that very moment, Sang-ah runs back. Her eyes scan the street until she sees Ji-en, shaking, bleeding, broken. They run into each other's arms, tears streaming down both their faces. This time, Sang-ah promises she won't walk away. Jang Sup rushes back to find Sang-ah, but she hides in a nearby alley. Once his car disappears, she carries Ji-en on her back and heads straight to the hospital. The nurse, shocked by the state of Ji-en's injuries, says a guardian is needed to fill out the admission form. But since Sang-ah isn't legally her guardian, it could land her in serious trouble. Ji-en overhears and pleads with her, she'd rather go untreated than be sent back. She just wants to stay with Sang-ah, even if her body is covered in wounds. Meanwhile, Jang Sup arrives at Egon's house and learns Ji-en is missing. Egon panics and calls Mi-kyung, who scolds him for failing to watch the child. Jang Sup checks the nearby CCTV footage and sees Sang-ah fleeing with Ji-en in her arms. He realizes that in the eyes of the law, her actions might be seen as abduction. That night, Sang-ah takes Ji-en to a motel to clean up. But Ji-en is terrified of the bathroom and water, memories of her abuse still haunt her. Gently, Sang-ah shows Ji-en her own scars and tells her there's no need to be afraid, they're the same. Ji-en reaches out, softly touching the scars, as if silently acknowledging Sang-ah's pain. Sang-ah tells Ji-en that she has nothing to offer, no home, no money, but promises to stay by her side and protect her. At those words, Ji-en breaks down in tears. She throws her arms around Sang-ah and says she will protect her too. As Jang Sup continues searching desperately for Sang-ah, his phone finally rings. It's her. On the call, he decides to tell her the truth. 8 years ago, Sang-ah's mother had given him a bankbook and begged him to look after her daughter. She had left Sang-ah at the amusement park not to abandon her, but to save her, from the abuse, the pain, the cycle she couldn't break. A flashback reveals the haunting memory. Sang-ah's mother wakes up to see her daughter bloodied and bruised. Overwhelmed by guilt and horror, she breaks down and begs the police to arrest her. She couldn't believe what she had done to her child. Back in the present, Sang-ah crumbles. Her heart aches as she realizes her mother did love her, but was too consumed by depression and alcoholism to give her the life she deserved. For years, Sang-ah carried the weight of abandonment, convinced she was unlovable. Now, all that pain floods back, colliding with the truth. The next day, panic sets in for Egon and Mi-kyung. Afraid of being exposed for child abuse, Mi-kyung urges Egon to find Ji-en before anyone else does. In a desperate attempt to protect himself, Egon goes to the police and reports his daughter missing, accusing someone of kidnapping her. The police review nearby CCTV footage and identify Sang-ah as the one who took Ji-en. They visit Egon's home but immediately notice something odd. The place looks nothing like a home for a child. When asked simple questions about Ji-en's height or what she was wearing, Egon doesn't know. How can a father not know that? When they uncover Sang-ah's previous charge of attempted murder, the case escalates. Officers are dispatched to search for her. Meanwhile, at the bus terminal, Sang-ah clutches 2 tickets, hoping to escape to another city with Ji-en. Just before she boards, Jang Sup spots her and stops her. He brings both of them to his sister's restaurant for safety. There, he tells Sang-ah the hard truth. Ji-en's father has filed kidnapping charges. The only way to clear her name is to prove Ji-en ran away because of abuse. Jang Sup promises to find the evidence they need and urges her to stay hidden at the restaurant. He gives her his phone and heads off. Returning to Egon's house, he overhears a neighbor mention seeing a child dangling from the window the night Ji-en escaped. Acting quickly, he obtains the CCTV footage, clear proof that Ji-en fled on her own. Realizing the truth is closing in, Egon tries to flee, but the police catch him before he can escape. Mi-kyung, in full-blown panic, hears about Egon's arrest. Furious, she blames everything on Ji-en and now, she decides to finish Ji-en off to save herself. Back at the station, Jang Sup interrogates Egon. How could you do that to your own daughter, he demands. But Egon shrugs coldly. She didn't die, did she? What's the big deal? Rage and disbelief overwhelm Jang Sup. He slams Egon to the ground. That's when Egon finally admits, he was abused too as a child. No one came for me back then, he spits. So why should anyone care now? At the restaurant, for the first time in a long while, Ji-en sleeps peacefully. Jang Sup's sister gently reassures Sang-ah, telling her none of this was her fault. But trouble is already on its way. When Jang Sup's phone rings, his sister answers without thinking. On the other end is Mi-kyung, who now knows exactly where to find Ji-en. Later, Sang-ah steps out to buy fever medicine, leaving Ji-en still asleep. When Ji-en wakes, she wanders into the back alley to look for her. That's when Mi-kyung appears and snatches her away. Back at the restaurant, Jang Sup's colleague checks in on Ji-en, only to find she's missing. He calls Sang-ah, and she sprints back with everything she has. Ji-en tries to break free, but Mi-kyung hurls objects at her in rage, raising a soju bottle to strike her. At the last second, Sang-ah arrives, slamming a cement block against Mi-kyung to save Ji-en. She locks Ji-en in a car and throws the keys far away, desperate to keep her safe. But Mi-kyung lunges, striking Sang-ah's face before bolting. Ji-en bursts out of the car to follow Sang-ah, fear and worry in her eyes. But Sang-ah knows what she must do. "Stay here," she warns, "or you'll never see me again." She runs after Mi-kyung. When she finally catches her, Mi-kyung taunts her, promising she'll never let Ji-en go and will keep hurting her forever. The two women fight viciously until Mi-kyung is shoved backward, her head hitting a brick. Sang-ah picks up another brick, ready to end it, when Jang Sup arrives and stops her. He pulls her into his arms, telling her to leave the rest to him and spend whatever time she can with Ji-en. Sang-ah rushes under the bridge, where Ji-en is waiting. Without a word, they clasp each other's hands tightly, as if vowing that no matter what happens, they will never let go. A year later, Sang-ah serves her sentence, while Mi-kyung is given 15 years in prison and Egon 10 for child abuse. Knowing how much Ji-en means to her, Jang Sup and his sister adopt the girl, giving her the safe home she's never had. Ji-en goes to school now, laughing and living the childhood she was once denied. Yet, she still misses Sang-ah. One afternoon, she walks out of the school gate and she spots Sang-ah. They look at each other emotionally, knowing that nothing will ever tear them apart again.